The way cleared for agreement on the controversial Orange Parade in Dunloy. 2,000 protesters in Cork call for tougher measures against joyriding. And in California, cult members speak of rebirth on board UFO in suicide video. Good evening. The groups involved in negotiations on the controversial Orange Parade through Dunloy in County Antrim say they've agreed a formula that allows a march to take place almost immediately. The Grand Orange Lodge, the Mediation Network and the Dunloy residents say a deal exists, and they've appealed to the lodge in the village to examine its term. Last night, an Orange meeting on the issue had to be abandoned because of a protest by members who opposed discussions.
Last night's meeting was organised by the County Antrim Orange Lodge. Its aim was to decide on a compromise deal, already accepted by nationalist Dunloy residents and worked out through intermediaries. The plan would allow Orange men march through the village within the next few weeks as a sign of goodwill, with further parades during the summer months. But the meeting ended before it had a chance to begin. It was swamped by hundreds of hardliners from outside County Antrim, whose message was simple: permission is not required and will never be sought to walk the Queen's Highway.
We will stand up and make ourselves heard from now on. We will not be capitulating to IRA, Sinn Féin or the hierarchy of the Orange Order if they are going down the road of Sinn Féin IRA negotiations. Are you worried?
This has been viewed as a serious split within the order. Yet the Grand Master, Robert Salters, has tried to allay those fears.
So if you say something often enough, there are some people who will start to believe it. But the truth is there was no deal, and we certainly are not dealing with anyone.
Like Robert Salters, the North's Mediation Network, which brokered the Dunloy Compromise, believes it can still be salvaged.
It's incumbent upon all people in every sphere in Northern Ireland to support those members of Dunloy Residents and Parents Association and those brethren from within the Orange Order who had the courage to find ways to communicate with each other about difficult things and to come up with real progress, the grounds for real progress, and they still are there.
It's hoped once the Orange men march through Dunloy, the 6-month-old loyalist protest outside the Church of Our Lady at Harryville will end. But with the hardline group claiming to represent the grassroots and threatening to protest anywhere the order negotiates with locals, hopes of a trouble-free marching season at this stage appear slim.
On Belfast's often troubled Ormeau Road today, 300 people marched in an ecumenical Good Friday active witness, organised by the clergy of all the main churches. They were emphasising that despite differences, their faith was in the one Jesus Christ. It was all a marked contrast with the scenes on the same road last Easter, when the marching season opened in Northern Ireland on the worst possible note here. But today, residents of the Ormeau gave thanks that the apprentice boys had volunteered not to march into the nationalist lower stretch of the road this weekend. However, in Armagh, the Church of Ireland primate expressed his disappointment that last night's meeting on the parade's issue in Dunloy had ended in disarray.
We cannot afford, as a province, we cannot afford as a society to have a repetition of the unrest of last year. Our economy suffered, inter-community relations suffered, friendships suffered. Much of the patient work of reconciliation that many of us had been involved in were put into great danger. But above all else, the image of this place that was taken abroad by the media was a very negative picture for obvious reasons. Now, we cannot afford to let that happen again this year.
And Michael and Bridie McGoldrick agree there can be no repetition of last year's troubles in Drumcree. Their 31-year-old son, Michael, was murdered by loyalists during the violence which spread throughout the north during the standoff at Drumcree Church of Ireland churchyard.
You couldn't put it into words, the effect it's had on us. Only for God, we'd be in the clay along with them. And that's the truth. But it's sad when a church is treated in such a way. But it's sad when it's treated by people calling themselves Christians. That's sad.
I don't have any anger or any bitterness that the church was opened and was used. I I don't understand it, because I wasn't that person that had to make the decision. It was sad to see the graves of people being desecrated. And I would think the people that had family buried there must have been hurt. And I would feel for them.